Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Killer Author Club. We are so excited to be here tonight. We'll give people a moment to settle in, but as you know, this is where we chat about our favorite thriller books and we talk with our favorite thriller authors about all things killing, fictional, of course. So have we got a show for you tonight, and we're going to find out why in the world Kimberly is sitting in the back of a car of all places. So grab your killer cocktail, settle in, and we will see you on the other side.
Thought you really loved me, guess I was wrong. Thought you'd never leave me, guess I was dumb. Waited like forever to be your plus one, but I guess you were done.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Killer Author Club. It's Killer Heather Goodenkoff here, and we have Killer Kimberly Bell with us and our special guest, Killer Hannah Mary McKinnon, who we'll talk to in just a moment. Unfortunately, Killer Kara Ruda is, well, not unfortunately, she's in Paris.
Well, I was going to say, unfortunately for us, but not for her.
Right, yes. So Kara is in Paris. She's in the City of Lights. She can't be with us tonight, but we hope she's having a great time. And if she's listening, please bring back croissants and macarons because, you know, that's what you do. So, and then I was going to say, Kimberly, you've got to tell us where you're coming from tonight.
Well, I have had quite a day. So I was coming back from New York. I've been at Thriller Fest, which if you guys have been paying attention to our socials at all, we've been posting, Kara and I were posting from Thriller Fest, interviewing all sorts of authors. So it was a wonderful weekend. But then I got on a plane today to Atlanta and there was all sorts of weather and they diverted me to Charlotte, where I do not live. So my darling husband, see what I did there?
Darling, yeah.
He got me a car, and so I am in the back seat. So it's Killer Author Club from the back seat.
Wow. I sure appreciate you making that, you know, that's a huge effort to be, I mean, that's dedication, people, to the Killer Author.
Right.
So thank
Wouldn't
you.
miss it.
And it's also a testament to our guest here, how special Hannah Mary is. So we are thrilled you're with us. And everybody who's out there listening, we're amassing a huge crowd here. So that's wonderful. Make sure you let us know you're here by dropping a comment in the comment section. And be sure to drop your questions there as well for Hannah and for any killer questions you might have. And also make sure you subscribe to our Killer Author YouTube channel and to all our social media accounts so you don't miss out on anything. And you want to be eligible to win a special gift tonight. I mean, Hannah's giving away 2 copies of her brand new book. So, but in order to win, you have to play. So you have to make sure you answer one of our killer questions and drop those in the comments. But Kimberly, you have something special coming out in November.
I do.
Let me see. Here we go. I'm going to show this as a special treat for everybody who have not seen this. So it's a killer cover reveal. And look at that. Kimberly, tell us a little bit about the personal assistant. Oh, I want that to go back up.
So, how pretty. I love that. Love it. Okay, so the personal assistant, like you said, November 29th, it's a story about an Instagram influencer she wakes up one morning to discover that one of her posts has gone viral, but not in a good way, in a really bad way. And so she calls her personal assistant to help her do damage control. But her personal assistant has gone silent, not just silent, but missing. And the police are looking to her and her husband for clues. It is a very cat and mouse kind of story, but who's chasing who?
Right.
I can't wait.
Cannot wait.
Yeah.
What a great cover. And we'll learn.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll be talking more and more about that
sure.
as we move along. So, here we are to talk to Hannah Mary McKinnon. And Kimberly, can you tell us a little bit about our guest?
Absolutely. So Hannah Mary McKinnon was born in the UK, if you haven't heard her accent.
What gives it away? Come on.
She grew up in Switzerland and moved to Canada in 2010. And she has a whole story about that and her husband, which we may get to later. Her suspense novels include The Neighbors, the bestsellers, Her Secret Son, Sister Dear, You Will Remember Me, and Never Coming Home, her latest, which has been out, what, like 2 weeks?
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
So these days, Hannah Mary lives in Oakville, Ontario with her husband and 3 sons. Look at that cover. I love it.
Mhm.
Ooh,
Beautiful.
so pretty. So a little bit about her, her latest, Never Coming Home. It's very funny, which you don't often get thrillers that are funny, but this one is. It's about a man named Lucas Forrester who doesn't really hate his wife. Michelle is brilliant and sophisticated and beautiful. Sure, she had extravagant spending habits, a petty attitude, a total disregard for anyone below her status. But she also has a lot to offer, most notably wealth that the only 1% could comprehend. For years, Lucas has been honing a flawless plan to inherit Michelle's fortune. Unfortunately, involves taking a hit out on her. Every track is covered, no trace left behind, and now Lucas plays the grieving widow so well he deserves an Oscar. But when a shocking photo and cryptic notes show up on his doorstep, Lucas goes from hunter to prey. Someone is onto him and they're closing in. Welcome, Hannah, to our show.
Thank you. I'm so thrilled to be here. So it's so lovely to see you both. I've missed you.
Yes.
Well, we've
Yes,
missed you
same.
as well.
Same. Look, we got all sorts of people, big fans,
Oh, thank
popping
you,
in. Yeah. Here's this one. I love it, Jermaine. Okay, so we also have asked you about a killer cocktail, and you have a killer cocktail for this show that is specific to the book. First comes murder. Tell us about this drink.
Well, it's actually something, it's funny, I have it, oh, you can't see me on camera. I actually got a little free booklet from where I do my weekly shop. Let me find it. Here it is. It's an exclusive recipe booklet, see? From
Nice.
President's Choice. Little blurb there, little plug there. And I was looking at, because I don't really drink a lot. I actually don't drink much at all. And I saw this cranberry ginger sangria and I thought, oh, okay, I'm in. And so there isn't, I'm trying to think what if any booze there is in the book. There's some Lafroig, I think, a whiskey, but I picked that one because I remember drinking it distinctly as I was plotting the book.
That's hilarious.
Well, and let's take a look at this recipe really quick. I mean, 1 cup frozen cranberries. We have a whole bottle of red wine.
Yes. I mean, it's not just for one drink, obviously.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it could be for a whole afternoon.
Yes,
you know,
I mean,
it could
Look,
be.
it's so
after
good.
the day I've had, I could use a bottle of wine.
I was going to say, what are you drinking in the back of your car, Kimberly?
Water.
Water.
Dasani from the airport.
Hydrate.
Same.
We've got a little wine here, so I'll drink for the 3 of us. So yeah, it was so much fun. Well, yeah. So thank you for sharing that, and I'm sure we'll have lots of people out there trying it out. So let us know.
It's really delicious. It's really nice. Yeah.
All right.
I
So
do
now
love a sangria.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the time of the show when we've got to get to talking about our killer question. And you know, the tagline on your book, Hannah, is first comes love, then comes murder. And so the question
is best tagline. Seriously.
I take no credit. That was my editor. Mine was the one on the back, which is missing wife, happy life.
Oh, yeah.
And that was actually a joke. When I sent her the manuscript. I said, oh, as a tagline, we could have missing wife, happy life. Ha, 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 ha. And it stuck. So I can't believe they let me put it on the back.
So good.
But she came up with first comes love, then comes murder. That was her.
Very good. And so that brings us to our killer question. How do you kill the one you love?
Well, in Lucas's case, he only pretends to love Michelle. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's a lot easier for him in that sense, because he's playing a role of a lifetime, and he's never actually loved his wife other than for her money. So in that sense, for his character, it's easy to have her disposed of, because he doesn't do it himself. He doesn't want to do it himself for multiple reasons. How do you kill the one you love? Well, I would guess in real life, probably more so a crime of passion, really, I would think. Hopefully unintentional, but we hear these stories all the time, don't we? And you think, well, how can you kill somebody that you love? Well, that would be a crime of passion, probably, in my opinion. But what do you think?
Well, yeah, and with Lucas, though, it's so calculated. He's one of my favorite villains in a book I've read in a long time, because, he's charming and you kind of like him, and you don't know whether or not you're rooting for him because it's bad to root for him, but he's, kind of likable.
That was strategic and quite deliberate. I hope that readers would feel exactly like that when they read his story, that they realized, oh, he's kind of funny. I think he's funny. He's funny and he's witty, and I'm amused by what he's doing, and I shouldn't be. And what does that say about me, that I kind of want him to get away with what he's done? That was what I was hoping for, many readers, hopefully, would feel that way.
He's kind of like, he reminded me a lot of Joe in You. Have you read that? Because he's so funny, and he's evil, going in, but the humor, the way that you both use humor to make him likable, I mean, that's really, it was amazing.
He needed to have something, I thought, when I wrote You Will Remember Me, there's one character in there who's clearly evil, and spending a lot of time in their head starts to get a little disturbing. And when I thought, okay, I'm going to write this entire book from the antagonist's point of view, I thought, I've got to want to spend that amount of time in his head. So what am I going to do for me to want to spend time in his head, and therefore hopefully bring the reader along? And humor was one of the things I thought maybe I could inoculate him with that a little bit, so people would hang out with him,
Yeah. Where did he come from? Like, how did he pop in your head?
Gosh, he was, it sounds like I'm talking about a real person, and you know what it's like. They feel like real people to us, as crazy as that sounds to everybody else. But I just really, really love movies where you root for the bad person, male or female. And you can go two ways. Kara in Best Day Ever with Paul, I just love to hate that guy. I couldn't wait to see if he was going to get his justice, his comeuppance, whatever you want to call it. It was brilliant. And that's one way. But then you can go the other way, where you have people hate to love them, as with Lucas. I shouldn't like him, but I do, because he's, for whatever reasons. And I love those kinds of movies where you root for the bad guy. And I wanted to see if I could pull that off. And not long after I had the idea, Lucas, in my head, strolls up to me and he says, "Go on, tell him my story." And that was it. Yeah. And it's one of those books, you have like my children, sometimes they are easier than the other one. Some books are easier, smoother to write than the other ones. And this one was a brilliant experience, because he was right there from his attitude. His voice was right there from the first page, which rarely happens. So I was very, very thankful to his murderous ways and his sense of humor. So he appeared not fully formed. I mean, they're never fully formed, obviously, but But yeah, his voice was there from chapter 1, which was strange.
So what kind of
I'm
research?
jealous of that.
Yeah.
It'll never happen again, I'm sure.
Yeah. Me too, right, Kimberly? So
Yeah, right.
So did you do any special research to get into the mind of a sociopath?
I did. I had to look at I didn't go on the dark web. When I say I had to look at the dark web, people are wondering, oh my God, did she download Tor and get on the dark web? No, I didn't. That was too much for me. I didn't. I wanted to learn about it. And I listened to an Audible original podcast about the dark web, which was actually fascinating. It was really cool. It was all about the history, where it came from. And then every episode was dedicated to stuff you can find on the dark web, or Bitcoin or cryptocurrency was one of them, viruses and things like that. So that was really interesting to get into. But then it was really thinking about, okay, if I wanted to hire somebody to do my dirty work, to get rid of someone, how am I going to get away with that? How do I need to stay ahead of the cops? And, Bruce Robert Coffin, he's an author, lives in Maine, retired detective sergeant of, I think, 25 years, or he was a detective sergeant. And he's my go-to person to hide bodies and get away with stuff. And he always makes my plots more evil. And for an ex-cop, it's brilliant. How can I make this worse? And he says, oh, you could do this or that or whatever. And I called him and I laid out the plan that I had with Lucas and what he was doing to stay ahead of the cops. And at one point he went very quiet and he said, starting to get a bit worried now because you've basically thought of almost everything. So if you are going to turn it to life of crime, let me know. So, if this writing gig doesn't work out, maybe I'll just do that. Different career, but
Awesome.
Got your retirement planned out.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah, no kidding.
And there was some gross stuff about what drain cleaner does to a corpse. Spoiler alert, it's not pretty. It wouldn't be, would it? And
I feel like I need to Google that now.
Yes, it's not nice. And just there was a scene with paramedics. There's a scene at the ER, which I don't know much about, fortunately, either way, and drugs too, opioid overdose and stuff. So I had to phone a friend to figure out how all of that works. So there was some technical aspects I wanted to get right, because you know what it's like. You don't want somebody thinking she doesn't know what she's talking about. You want to make sure you represent things properly. So
I love it.
Yeah.
So Debbie Moore asked, do the characters live in Canada? Where did you set this book? I don't remember.
Boston.
Oh, yeah.
Boston. Okay.
Yeah. And yeah. Hank, lovely Hank Philippi Ryan, has a cameo in the book.
She does? How did I miss that?
Because I don't write her name, but she appears on a television set. This
my gosh, that's hilarious.
Silver-haired, glamorous reporter. So that's
doing the news.
Yeah,
that was my homage to Hank. Yeah, and she was a big help, because I have been to Boston, but it was a long time ago. And there was a certain scene that I wrote, and I called her and I said, I've written this scene and it's at the zoo. Does that work? And she started laughing. She said, no, our zoo's tiny. Let's find you somewhere else we'll come up with something else. And we did. So she was a big help.
Amazing.
Well, and you besides writing, I mean, you also and Hank host an incredible series that is, so supportive of authors and readers love. And so can you tell us just a little bit about First Chapter Fun for maybe some of our viewers who...
Yeah, with pleasure. So First Chapter Fun is on Instagram and Facebook. It's a Facebook group, First Chapter Fun, and Instagram, First Chapter Fun. And every Tuesday and Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, we read the first chapter. We showcase an author and their book and then read the first chapter live. And most of the time, the authors are interacting with the viewers in the comments on both platforms. So we dedicate half an hour twice a week to other authors and their books. So if you haven't seen us yet, come along. We are not audiobook pros by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a lot of fun.
No, you guys
No,
are
but you
pros.
guys are great. Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
you've
agreed.
got that accent that makes everything sound like Pulitzer Prize winning literature. And Hank has got that, wonderful reporter's voice.
Oh, she does,
Perfect.
yeah. And we've read both of your books.
Yes.
Both of your books.
Look here.
Heather, we
Janet,
read
love.
Yeah, The Overnight Guest we read in January, and My Darling Husband was in December. And of course, we're going to get you back as soon as your next ones come out, for sure.
So much fun.
Love it.
So great.
Love it. So it is time for our giveaway, I believe. The killer giveaway.
Let me pull that up.
So, like Heather said earlier, Hannah is giving away 2 copies of Never Coming Home for someone in the US and Canada. Sorry if you're in other places, but it's US and Canada only. All you have to do to be eligible is answer this question about our killer guest, and we will come back in about 24 hours from now and pick 2 winners from the comments, and bonus points for subscribing to our YouTube channel. We will also make sure to drop that address in the comments as well, or you can just go to YouTube and search for Killer Author Club and you will definitely find us. But the killer question is, what country was Hannah born in? Ooh. We always make these so hard.
I know. So, yeah. And Hannah has something that we do on Killer Author Club is we love our independent booksellers, and we always ask our guests who one of their favorite indie booksellers are. And Hannah, you picked one, and you picked a Different Drummer Books in Burlington, Ontario. Can you tell us a little bit about why this store is so special to you?
Yeah, definitely. So Ian Elliott runs the bookstore. He's been there for, I think, over 20 years, I believe. And it's an independent, an indie bookstore. It's probably about 50 years old, I think, now. I think they had their 50th anniversary. And it is in a house. So a detached house, 2-story, but it's actually made into 3. And it has all these little nooks and crannies, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful store to go and visit. And Ian is a real champion of authors. He is constantly running events and promoting authors, local, not local. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful store. You have brilliant books, and the way it's laid out on these 3 stories and different places you can sit and read, and they'll have artwork on the walls from local artists as well. So it goes beyond books. And during the pandemic, he was delivering books. He was driving around delivering people's orders in the area. So it really, really is a wonderful, wonderful place that I have not been to for a while, and I must make a trip. I really must. Now everything's open again, pretty much properly. It'll be a pleasure. We actually have an event there end of June with Molly Fader, Molly O'Keefe. She writes under both names, and Hannah McKinnon, not me. So it's Hannah McKinnon squared.
Yeah.
And Molly, she's going to be chatting with us. So that's going to be online. So that'll be really fun. So it'll be Hannah McKinnon and Hannah Mary McKinnon, just to confuse people.
Yeah,
hilarious.
Right.
That's awesome.
And that's at Different Drummer Books.
Different Drummer Books, yes, online. It'll all be online, yes, because Hannah's in Connecticut, so it'll be on Zoom.
We'll be sure to drop that link so everybody can check out a Different Drummer Books. And so thank you so much for sharing, because again, killers love their indie booksellers. So.
Yes, we do.
So Hannah, you survived the Killer Author Club.
Woohoo!
We have a badge especially for you. You can print it out, put it on your wall, hang it behind you. So every time you're on screen, people get to see the Killer Author Club that you survived.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes. And so thank you so much for being here, Hannah. And we're going to just do I know readers everywhere are going to run out, and if they haven't already, and grab Never Coming Home.
Oh, thank you.
But we have another show coming up in 2 weeks. Our next guest, killer author, was actually praised by you, Hannah, who said, "It's no secret this author has inspired me for years, and with good reason. Her writing is knockout fantastic, and her latest is a true masterclass in thriller writing. If you're intrigued, you're going to have to tune in for our next episode, Tuesday, June 21st, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, and 6 Pacific. So thank you, Hannah, for being here. And thank you for everyone for joining us. Be sure to answer that killer trivia question about Hannah in our comments so we can, if you can see if you can be a winner of one of the copies of her books that's up for grab. Make sure you follow the Killer Author Club on YouTube and all of us on social media because we love hearing from you. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, and have a great night.
Thank you. Thank you both so much.
Left me at the party out of the blue, saying that you're sorry. Won't